Do you make connections? I mean, I know the film you made, the work you did with Richard III, right? Richard III to Frank Underwood, right? It's not hard to make that kind of a leap.
Well, actually, there is a leap, because there's not a huge leap, because when Michael Dobbs, who wrote the book, House of Cards, which was based then, the British series is based on it, he based it on Richard III.
Yeah.
And that's why there is direct address, why the character turns directly to the audience, because I've made this joke a couple of places, but I know some people may think that Ferris Bueller invented direct address, but he didn't. It was actually Shakespeare.
Right.
So all of those...
That's turning to
it's
the
turning
audience
to the
and
audience
just
and talking
speaking,
directly to them and confiding in the audience. And so for me, it was incredible to have had the chance to play Richard III just literally before I started shooting House of Cards, and go around the world with it and have that experience of looking into an audience's eyes and understanding the nature of that relationship and its complexity, because on the one hand they're rooting the character on the other hand they feel a little responsible for the things that the character goes about doing to achieve what they're trying to achieve. So it's a very interesting kind of relationship with an audience.
And do you make connections in your life, your priorities, values, between a Frank Underwood and the kind of thing we're talking about here today, working with young people?
No,
Does it all fit?
Look, first of all, my job is to never judge the characters I play. My job is just to play them and let the chips fall where they may. But I mean, for me, it's sort of interesting that right smack in the middle of doing House of Cards, I spent 2 months in London playing one of the most iconic, brilliant lawyers, many who call the sort of father of the legal profession Clarence Darrow, in a one-man play about Clarence Darrow. And you could not find a person who fought for so many issues and ideas that you couldn't necessarily find Frank Underwood fighting for. I'm the kind of actor that, you know, when I hang the costume up at night, the character stays with it. I would say probably Darrow has been the one character, but I've also played him in three different circumstances, both in a television film for PBS that was about 20-something years ago, and then I played him in Inherit the Wind, which is about the Scopes Monkey trial. He's called Drummond in that play, but it's essentially Clarence Darrow. And then this one-man show I just did. I think he, lumbering around in his ideas, had a pretty big effect on me.
The context for the work you're doing now with young people, of course, is we're at a time where our culture seems to value less a lot of the arts, at least in education. I mean, I see it when I go around to different schools. You see the disparities in different high schools.
Well, the great thing is, look, there's a great thing that's happening too, which is that, you know, you've all heard about STEM, which is the fact that the sciences and you know, all of the work that we're doing in sort of those areas, technology and stuff, are really improving in lots of universities. Because you can look at other countries around the world, whether it's Singapore or other countries that are really advancing in terms of where their students are with that. But there is an A that should go into that, and it should become STEAM. And there's a number of universities and colleges and states that are looking at turning STEM to STEAM.
A for the arts.
A for the arts. Because I think that it's incredibly important for us to remember that creativity, that imagination, that how the arts move and touch us, it's the thing we talk about. It's the thing we share globally. It's one of the most important, certainly national things that we take great pride in. But around the world, the ability for us to exchange cultures. It's one of the reasons why I love being able to go places around the world and doing workshops, and whether it's in Singapore or Beijing or Abu Dhabi or Beirut or wherever it might be, where you can sometimes do things, say things, achieve things culturally that you can't politically. And those kind of barriers are really interesting to keep pushing.
But are you concerned that there's less money, that there's less...
There's a lot of rich people in the world. And if they do what many are doing with their money, which is recognizing the value of arts and culture, not buying into the argument that it's some sort of excessive luxury item, but that these are necessary parts of our lives. They're some of the most important things that we all share as human beings are the books we read, the movies we go to, the music we listen to, the experiences that we have together, those shared experiences, the water cooler moments. Now, of course, the water cooler's just gotten bigger. It's now it's no longer necessarily in the office. It's on the internet. It's everywhere.
So finally, I mean, you're singing here tonight. You're ending your work at the Old Vic pretty soon, next year. More singing? What's next?
I would love to do much more singing. It's just one of those things where I can't quite describe what it feels like when you're standing in front of a 40-piece orchestra and there's nothing between you and an audience but a microphone. It's like strapping yourself to a locomotive. And I love it, and it makes me feel different. And it's a different kind of performance than I've ever felt before. I love it, and it's only this year when I've gotten back to it in concert form that I've realized how much I miss it.
All right, Kevin Spacey, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.